Hey everyone, we are live, and I am playing Mortal Kombat 11 again. And at this point, after playing the arcade for a little bit, after like getting into the game, after doing all this other stuff, like I have decided that yes, I really do like this game. So take it for what it's worth. Um, I still think 9 is the best one by far. It has like the most content. It has the best story mode. It has the best gameplay. I do think that 11 has fixed most of the glaring problems I had with 10, namely the story mode and what was the other big problem? Man, I'm so tired. I can't even think of what it was. Um, Hang on, let me turn this down.
I grant clemency to all who will.
Only those who grovel before you.
So yeah, I do think 11 did fix issues with 10. I think the issues with 11 are more like their own thing, Like the story mode is better, like the character arcs are better. I don't want to say the fatalities are better. I think the main thing with 11, I don't like the character roster as much, and I don't think I like the fatalities nearly as much as but they're still good. Like actually, one of my big problems with 9, my biggest problem actually, is that all the fatalities are kind of terrible. And now like 10 and 11 seem to be getting back into it, like making really really good ones, and that's really good to see. I do think 10 might have had better gameplay, but I'm still not 100% sure on that. Yep, messed up Raiden's fatality. So yeah, I've been doing the arcade mode. I've been going through these endings, and yeah, I have seen the controversial Jax ending, and I have to say, like, I don't see what the big deal is. Like, personally, in my experience, like, I just thought it was another bad ending. There are always bad endings in these games. It's pretty typical. They can't always be cool or interesting. Like Noob's was kind of boring. Sonya's was kind of ridiculous. Cassie's and Johnny's were pretty much the same thing. Where like, yeah, our family's back together, man. But I don't know. That's typical, right? Are they worse than 9 or 10s? Like, I don't remember all the endings for those games. Again, they're not great. A lot of them aren't canon. They're mostly interesting for potential plot threads in the beginning. Like Scorpions, probably one of my favorites because it seems to be building up to some otherworldly menace that the characters might have to go up against next. We're gonna have to see where that goes. But yeah, Jax, I didn't necessarily have a problem. I didn't find it like yeah. I think the only thing, why did he go and help Africans specifically? Why was it not like someone with an American background? Like, why did they not have helping Americans or the military or something he would like know about? It just that's just my opinion on that. Like I wasn't like super bothered by it. If anything, I thought like it was one of the ones that could have worked. It was just like I think it was like the whole just Wakanda aspect. Like he literally uses the word woke in that okay, Raiden cutscene. Let's see, Raiden fatality. Yeah, I do think 10 generally did have better fatalities. Yeah, better characters, better fatalities, maybe better gameplay. I'm really gonna have to compare them because I really have no idea at this point whether 10 had better gameplay than 9. Because I better gameplay than 11 because I didn't play enough of 10 to really put this down. You could say whether I prefer it over. I don't remember having issues with the gameplay ever, so I want to say 10 has better gameplay, but I don't know. But yeah, 10, 11, my impressions, not as bad as people make it out to be. I am enjoying playing it. I want to come home and play it every time I'm out. Like I like the game. I like the characters. I like general aspects of it. Like again, I have problems with it, but yeah. Like, people are getting it like zeros on Metacritic. No, that it's not that bad by any means. I think it feels slower than 9 and 10. Just going by my impressions, I think that's the big thing that got me early on. I think at this point I've gotten used to it though. So yeah. Now I'm trying to get unlock stuff. Just enjoy my time with the game. Like I still haven't tried online. I'm still doing the. I'm still doing the tower. That's fun. You know. Yeah. We'll have to see how long I keep playing it, but I am indeed enjoying it. I think it's a perfectly reasonably enjoyable new Mortal Kombat. Like probably not the best one, but I don't think it's the worst either. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this was a good. April 23rd was like a good day for games because Dragon's Dogma also came out, and I spent a little bit of time last night playing it, and boy, oh boy, was Dragon's Dogma great. Like I had trouble like putting it down and going to bed because it was just so much fun. Like I love how it's like this open world action game that doesn't explain anything, and you're just sort of like thrown into it and like asked to explore and like do stuff and fight things, and I loved it. Like again, it's a lot like this where it has like those kind of problems too. I think going by what I played, it takes a little bit too long to get to like the good stuff. Like there's this sequence. Okay, well maybe comparing it to this is kind of disingenuous. It's kind of like a slow burn kind of game because like you're thrown into this world, right? You're the Arisen, and you show up in this world and you're just like, okay, what do I do? Do I just wander around? And like it's not obvious what you're supposed to do, and that's kind of what makes it fun. Because like I did not expect, right? Like I was trying to figure out what to do, and I came across this woman who wanted me to take a nap or whatever. In this camp. So I did it. And then when I woke up, I was attacked by this awesome Hydra in this camp. And this Hydra had like this cool as shit moveset where like it intertwined with this like with the surrounding buildings, and like people in the camp were helping you fight it. And it was just rad as fuck. And then you had to like cut off its head, and then you since it's such a valuable creature, you got to like transport it back to the Duke of the Kingdom, which again was really, really neat and something. I love this game's personality and its take on the whole like fantasy aspect. You know, like it feels, really organic and not like scripted at all. Because like you don't expect that happening. It's really, really fun. I'm really, really enjoying it actually. I'm wondering if it's going to be one of my favorite games on Switch at this point already. Really, really like that game. I remember people comparing it to Breath of the Wild when I first. I think that's mostly because of the climbing aspect. I would say Breath of the Wild has a better open world, while Dragon's Dogma has better like boss fights specifically. Not better combat in general. Breath of the Wild has, again, stellar in that regard. But yeah, some of the shit like I think you can do in Dragon's Dogma seems like insane. I'm super impressed with that. So yeah, I still have not decided who my main is in Mortal Kombat 11. Like I have no idea. Like probably Liu Kang, maybe. Yeah, I think it is going to be Liu Kang again. I usually main Liu Kang, but we're going to have to see. Yeah, I noticed in the tower there actually are variations. I thought there weren't. But I think what happened with Cassie is that like they forced you into like a variation I didn't like playing as, because like now that I can choose, I've had like no problems playing with her. So I don't know. The variations are just I just don't understand them at all. Like they just sort of exist. They give you different movesets and different combos, I think, and it's just like, all right, whatever. Yeah, I do like this arcade ladder ending, right? In Mortal Kombat 11, where you like beat Kronika and like she gets fucked up by the hourglass. Okay, Raiden ending.
In timeline after timeline, she stoked my anger and fed my arrogance, turning me against Liu Kang. My nose rubbed in my own fallibility. I was humbled. How could I be worthy to accept the mantle as keeper of time? I thought that to control time and destiny fairly, I must purge myself of all human emotion. Summoning the strongest magic, I burned away my fear and anger. All that remained was pure logic.
Yeah, again, like all these endings aren't that great. Like Jax's is not unique in that regard.
Just choice. Unless tempered by
like I think only people were upset about it because of like the social justice aspect to it.
Based on anger or fear. Now I am once more at time's beginning, but on this journey through history, I will infuse logic with love. In this timeline, I will finally achieve peace for the citizens of all realms.
One of the things I really like about the endings of this game is that like it's narrated in the first person, so like the characters sort of narrate what they're trying to do with the timeline, and yeah, that's kind of interesting. It could have been great, but again, a lot of them just sort of fall flat. Like Raiden eliminating all emotion, and then he's just like, I'm going to infuse logic with love and bring peace to all realms. Well, that's probably not going to work, but maybe that was the point. Like I don't know what they were going with that one. All right, Jade. Oh, no, Jackie. Jackie Briggs. What other game has come out? Oh, hasn't Days Gone come out lately? Over the past couple of days? I think it has, and I think it was controversial, right? I don't know. I've been so busy. I actually just woke up, so I have no idea what's going on with that one. I heard all sorts of weird things about it. People were like messaging me about it. Like apparently it has all these weird glitches, and like I noticed people are trying to damage control this release or the backlash towards this release as being like social justice oriented. So you're seeing people try to say that like, the reason people hate Days Gone is because it has a cis white male protagonist, and like game journalists don't like that. And I don't know. That seems like complete bullshit to me. Like, I think the game is just naturally really bad, and even like the Sony shills can't really defend it. Like, I don't know. Maybe it exists to make The Last of Us look better, but I don't know. Like, I think it is naturally a bad game. Maybe I'll look at Fortune, see what's going on there, just so I don't run out of things to talk about. Oops. But yeah, I'm not surprised that Days Gone is not popular or people don't care about it, because that game, well, again, everything Sony has been showing in the past couple of years has been kind of a disaster. So I'm not really surprised by that at all. Okay, fatality, back. Okay, forward, back, forward, B. Oops. Wait, what? There we go. Got it. Yeah, I do think 10's fatalities were really, really good. I don't know, 10's were, 9's were terrible. 10's were like the best I think we've ever seen, and these are just, I don't know, for the most part, kind of underwhelming. Like, Johnny's was amazing. Like, Johnny's has been pretty consistently good throughout all of them, I think. What does he do in the first one? Yeah, the first one, he's that's the one with the Oscar, right? Where he just like splits it in half and then like just shoves it in. That one's all right, as I recall. Okay, Days Gone. Let's see. What is going on with Days Gone? Yep. Nobody's talking about it at all. It just came out, right? Oh man, yeah. Sony must not have been willing to pay the shills this time, or even tried to really push this one. I don't see. So maybe I should adjust this. Yeah, Sony must not have been. I don't remember anything about Days Gone at all. I don't know who's made it. I don't know what its history is. I don't know how long it's been in development. But yeah, I knew it was a big release. They were trying to shill it. This is gonna be a great zombie game, man, and it wasn't. Like, so many people, I don't know. When even like the Sony shills aren't defending this one, I think that really goes to show you just how terrible it actually is. You know, like, Sony really can't do anything outside of their extremely specific kind of single-player game they like to make, like the extremely scripted, linear, Uncharted, Last of Us clones, right? That's been the case since like The Last of Us came out. Is that like game journalists will eat this shit up because you know, it's cinematic. It takes gaming more seriously. It gives them something to promote. Like, I think that's the real reason game journalists love The Last of Us so much, is that like they were able to latch onto it as like this you know, cinematic masterpiece and push it as this. They were an instrumental part in getting people to talk about and respect it. You know, like declaring it one of the best games ever made. Like the week it came out, it was just. Dude, it wasn't even the best game that came out that day. Animal Crossing New Leaf, if you'll remember, did come out that same day. So, yeah, New Leaf was way better. Like, I love how like everybody will talk about how great The Last of Us is, but they'll never explain why. Like, they'll always like bring up like you know, the end, like how emotional it is, but they won't like site-specific scenes. They won't talk about like to this day, I still don't know everything that happens in that game. Like, I looked up the ending just to see how dumb it is. And like I played the intro, and I know how bad the intro is, and how terribly they set up the zombie apocalypse. Like I did an entire like breakdown of it, of how this was supposed to work. And nobody talks about how fun the game is. Not even the developers themselves. Like Neil Druckmann has that infamous interview where he says like, "We don't talk about fun," as if like his game is like more than just fun. You know, it's very, very. I've said this before, but game journalists don't want games to be made for children. They want it to be like super, super mature games for mature gamers. They are a stereotype in that respect. So I think these kind of people are leaning more towards single player games because, like, it's kind of a meme right now, right? That 8 to 12-year-olds love Call of Duty, right? And they're called squeakers, right? They go on voice chat and like scream at you and like say they're gonna rape your mother and stuff like that. That is the Call of Duty crowd, like little kids. And of course, game journalists want to separate themselves from that. So they latch on to these kind of single player games that nobody would actually want to play. Like, say what you want about COD, right? But at least people like the game. At least people like the idea of like being a soldier and just fighting other people. That's all there is to it. Like, you can argue it's shallow or whatever, but at least people like playing it. And doesn't have this like stream culture behind it or this game journalist agenda, right? I imagine game journalists are, involved with like the backlash with COD and some degree. I don't know, maybe not, but. Yeah, The Last of Us 2. How badly is that going to do? Because we pretty consistently, despite the shilling, despite like everybody ignoring it, like pretty much every major PS4 release since the Switch has been a disaster. Like they tried to push God of War as this like amazing game of the generation masterpiece when it really wasn't even mediocre. Dragon's Dogma. Like I played that for like a couple of hours, right? That first couple of hours is better than anything you do in God of War 2018. I'm not exaggerating. The game is more fun. The bosses are more interesting. It's more of a game. God of War, all it had going for it was the media hype behind it and like its promotion as like this amazing, stellar masterpiece. And when it lost that, it kind of lost everything. Like now that it's not the hot new thing anymore, nobody cares about it. Like I don't think it's going to have anywhere near the legacy that the original game had. Like by the time the sequel comes around, it's going to have these issues are going to become more and more pronounced because at the end of the day, these PlayStation exclusives are simply not fun to play. And that's why they can generally only go like 2 or 3 entries before like they completely fall apart, right? We saw this with Uncharted. We saw this with all these other PlayStation IPs, right? Where they come out, they're like massively, massively overhyped and like get all this critical acclaim and like get all these sales, and then they like fall off the wayside, right? And then they have to introduce something else. And that franchise, that was at one point so heavily hyped by the media, is completely forgotten by everyone, right? Compare like something legitimately good on PlayStation, like the Spyro games, and compare that to like I don't fucking know, like some old PlayStation 2 exclusive. I'm thinking Jak and Daxter, right? People don't actually like Jak and Daxter. Jak and Daxter, okay, the first one, it was a mediocre Banjo-Kazooie. Whatever. I liked it for what it was. I was surprised at how much I actually liked the first Jak and Daxter. They completely ran off the rails with the second game, and then they completely lost it with the third, right? And then they started making all these terrible spin-offs, and now nobody really cares about that series, right? they can't maintain a series. Like people love bitching about like Nintendo spin-offs. They love bitching about Wind Waker. They love bitching about Phantom Hourglass. They love bitching about like Force World Adventures. I'm just naming Zelda games here because that's probably the most notorious for this. One of the most notorious for the backlash, right? Because of the Wind Waker situation. Nintendo does this so much better than Sony. They handle spin-off titles so much better than Sony. Like Minish Cap, infinitely more beloved than like any of these Sony spin-off titles, right? God of War will never ever be able to have a Minish Cap. It's never going to have a Link's Awakening. It is never going to be able to reinvent itself in a unique, interesting way because at its core, it's very shallow. It has no gameplay. It is entirely reliant on the cinematics and the trendiness of it. Jackie's ending. All right. So Revenants remember things when they come back? Oh, hey. They actually use the they actually use the classic Katana, the Mortal Kombat 9 Katana and Jade outfits in the ending. Okay, I'm pointing this out on Twitter. Like, nobody brought this up. Like, everybody was always talking about how offended they were. Yeah, maybe the real reason they don't have sexy outfits in the game is because they're trying to sell you them as DLC. Yeah, that's shady in and of itself, but that's not like a social justice warrior agenda. Yeah, I don't understand why this of all games was like bombarded with like the social justice warrior angle, right? There are so many other games I think deserve it more. Like, what's come out recently? Yeah, what's come out recently that's very social justice-y? Last of Us 2, right? Are people going to consider call that out for being social justice? Horizon Zero Dawn, yeah, that's a great example. Horizon Zero Dawn was super SJW, right? It shoved all these like political things into the game that didn't really need to be there. They were like criticizing Brexit, I think. I think they implied that like Brexit was like the cause of the machine apocalypse or something like that because of the politicians behind it weren't uniting with the EU to fix the problem. Like how they accuse people of not signing on to climate change, right? That's how I. That's like one of the more offensive things about like this political things. Like these people, they're so like sure of themselves that like everything they say and do is right. There's no like hesitation. There's no doubt. There's no like seriously considering like maybe there's something to like this alternate worldview, right? Like this differing opinion. Maybe these people are like, there's something of merit there. Maybe there's some reason for it. Maybe this person is a good person in spite of this, our difference in opinion. No, they do all this stuff to like call people who disagree with them, right? Uneducated, ignorant, stupid, that sort of thing, Okay. Why is the projectile button in this game? I'm sorry, I'm going. Why is the projectile button in Mortal Kombat 11 down, forward, X? Like that's just like what? It should be Y or B. Why is it X? X is like the worst button. Okay, Sub-Zero fatality. Let's see. Man, all the fatalities in this game are mid-range. Okay, there we go. Sub-Zero's fatalities are usually good. Oh, come on. Enough of the block of ice. Yeah, that's not a good one. Yeah, I noticed that some of the fatalities are locked, and yeah, I'm not sure how to unlock them yet. Yeah, maybe that some of the better ones are hidden behind the locked. So what, do I have to go in the crypt? Do I have to unlock? I think I do. Should I go in the crypt and look around? I think I should. Just so I have some variety. I do not like the trend that they have of like unlocking one of the fatalities initially. That's just like, why would you do that? It's a fighting game. I should be able to have all the moves. I guess it's a fatality. You don't need it to win, but.
Is there room for love?
Love gets in the way.
Love needs
Farts.
So yeah, now that I'm playing, okay, I'm enjoying playing the arcade in this game. I really do like Mortal Kombat 11. All right, so Mortal Kombat 11 on Nintendo Switch, by the way. Yeah, the Switch port. This has been, one of the things I'm thankful for when it comes to this like social justice controversy. It completely destroyed the narrative that the Nintendo Switch version of the game was terrible, because no one was talking about that when it happened. And so if no one was talking about it, nobody will pretend that this version is inferior, the way they did with like Doom, right? Everyone, I am perfectly enjoying this. Like Angry Joe has said he owns the Switch version of Mortal Kombat 11. I'm not sure if it's like the version he primarily played, but he does own it, and he has played it, I'm sure. So it's very possible we might have a major YouTuber come out in the next couple of weeks and like tell people that, yeah, the Nintendo Switch version of this AAA release looks and runs perfectly fine. And that's going to be huge for the Switch, I think, because that was the main narrative that like people were using to try and weaponize against the Switch at this stage. It's like, well, it's not getting the big AAA games that we're all excited for. Stuff like Destiny 2 and Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem and Call of Duty. Like pretty much all of those should have come out on Switch, by the way. Like, again, it really is as simple as hiring a studio to release a Nintendo Switch version of the game. Like, that's it. You just have to have like another team, a smaller company come in, take what you already have, convert it to the Switch, and it's easy. Rocket League did it, Mortal Kombat 11 did it, Day One, Doom did it. Again, it's becoming more and more common, and I'm really, really happy to see that. Like, Mortal Kombat 11, to my knowledge, is not even missing any content at all. So that's just great. Not that like any other release was really missing content, but yeah, nobody's even like pretending that Mortal Kombat 11 is missing content on Switch. So that's very, very exciting. Speaking of Angry Joe, now that I've played Cuphead and now that I know what he was like, I, for the first time in my entire life, am now completely aware of just how terrible Angry Joe actually is at video games. Because, like, I kind of suspected this was the case, right? I just kind of assumed that, like, most gaming YouTubers are terrible at games, because they are. They spend more time editing than they do actually playing the games. Angry Joe, I watched, like, his Cuphead review and his Cuphead live stream just to see how he compared to me. I wanted to like compare myself to him and see just how good I was at this game compared to him. Like, I was honestly expecting. Okay, I knew he wasn't good at the game, but holy crap, he is awful. Like, he is awful. He is like losing to like the vegetables on simple mode. He's like running around awkwardly. Like, man, Cuphead, more than any other game in recent memory, I think, has really exposed the gaming media as being really corrupt and really ignorant of games, right? Like not really enjoying them at all, not playing them, not being any good at them, just having all of these crazy problems with the simplest thing. Like Cuphead is not a particularly difficult game, especially early on. Like he was struggling against a boss on simple mode that I beat my first try on regular mode. So that was kind of an eye-opening moment for me because I think so many modern games are so not very skill-based. Like I think most gaming journalists, this is pretty much confirmed at this point, right? Most of them, after the whole Sekiro debacle, this seems to be the case, right? The game journalists primarily just play on the lowest difficulty setting, play through the game, and then judge it based on like its visuals, what it tries to do thematically, and not whether it's like actually fun or difficult to play, right? And that's why this whole Sekiro thing is becoming an issue because like game journalists can't cheese their way through that game. Like it takes actual skill. Like it takes an actual rhythm game. Like Dark Souls does not take skill. Like all game journalists do to get game journalists were able to like get through those games by utilizing like the summon mechanics and abusing the system and like helping each other through it essentially. And they were able to praise it for that reason. In fact, the Demon Souls was not nearly as critically praised as Dark Souls 2 because in Demon Souls, the first one, people did not know how to cheese it. So the game journalists like shit all over it and kind of ignored it, right? And then it sort of became a cult classic, and then like Dark Souls came out and was a phenomenon, and like game journalists like latched onto it and like decided to praise it in order to like gain some credibility. I think that's the main reason that like so many game journalists have latched on to Dark Souls in particular, and that like it has this illusion of difficulty, but it can be cheesed, and that's they use it as like proof to prove what hardcore gamers they are. Like Keza McDonald, I've beaten Dark Souls. I'm a hardcore gamer. That's why I have the credibility to shit on games like The Wonderful 101. Right? That is why Dark Souls has the appeal to the game journalists because it gave them credibility. It gave them like it gave them something to prove what good gamers they were, and they used it as a weapon to like criticize people who were calling them out for not being able to finish simple games like Cuphead, skill-based games like Cuphead, and other games like it, like The Wonderful 101. And what's another difficult game that was shit on by the media? God Hand, I suppose. It just. I'm just so sick of these like really good games being criticized for no real reason, right? It just I find Sekiro. Okay, I imagine Sekiro isn't very good, but like again, this is why the gaming media isn't reliable, is that they're not really telling you why it's not good, and they're like making it into some bullshit argument about like the game's difficulty and just how it's too hard, like weaponizing the disabled to justify their bullshit. Oh yeah, the media. I really wanted to talk about this I might as well talk about this now. The media is extremely anti-merit. Like they are extremely against this idea that anyone can do anything that other people can't do. They are against the very idea of that being a thing. Like if something exists that someone else can't use or make use of or enjoy, then that thing should not exist. Like if there's any group of people who can't enjoy something, then that thing should not exist. And when it comes to these difficult games, that's kind of what they do, is that they like say that like, well, this game is too hard for the disabled. So instead of like saying that like, well, maybe there are other games that, well, for one thing, that argument is complete bullshit because people have been bringing it up because there was that Quadriplegic. I'm sorry, I can't really pronounce things right now. There was a guy with no arms and no legs who managed to play through Sekiro after game journalists insisted that like it wouldn't be possible because the game was just so difficult, right? Game journalists, you know, had people brought that up to like talk about that. There have been so many instances. Like, if you have a problem, if you have a disability, and if you really want to do something in this day and age, you probably can manage it in some way or another. Like, you're gonna have to work hard. You're gonna have to like put effort in. You're gonna have to like do something about it. But
I changed Bihan's life and unfroze his heart. Now we are comrades, not rivals. Together as joint grandmasters, we lead the
yeah. You can't like appeal to everyone, and that's just kind of this instance, right, where they're using the disabled to justify their own bias against difficult games. I don't think disabled people who simply can't play video games are going to begrudge people for enjoying them. You know, like. It's just like, I think disabled people have more to worry about than like not being able to play a video game. You know what I mean? Like, you know, these are people who like maybe can't walk, maybe can't hold things, maybe can't like, you know, sit upright or something like that, or can't move on their own. Like, they're trying to like make their lives better. They're trying to accomplish something. They're trying to like live ordinary lives. They're not concerned about entertainment. You know, there are plenty of things they can enjoy in those situations, and it just, I don't know. Saying video games need to change, need to change to help these people is just. It's a good example of how like game journalists and SOW, they try to virtue signal to justify their bullshit. They try to make it about the minorities. They try to make it about like saving the planet. They try to use these they try to make what they're doing sound like obviously the good thing, right? Like gay marriage is a good example. Like, don't you want people to be happy? Don't you want them to live like fulfilling relationships? Don't you want them to be with who they want to be with? Like, they're, you know, that's how they like try to justify it, right? They try and portray it as something that's like normal and acceptable, and just like mistreated by society, right? And they just downplay all the reasons that like people have very, very real concerns with that kind of lifestyle, you know, the kind of people involved in that lifestyle, and just, you know, yeah, they weaponize all sorts of things, right? That they don't really. There's this really funny meme. Well, how do I describe the meme? It's really good if you look at a picture of it. Of how these people behave, is that they'll weaponize things that they don't believe in themselves in order to push an agenda onto people. So, for example, you'll see a lot of these left-leaning people people who like criticize Christians all the time, try and use Christian doctrine to justify their bullshit, and try and convince actual believers that what they believe is not actually supported by their religion. So like, what's a good example of this? I can't think of anything. Oh yeah. They use that for immigration a lot. to justify why we need to let like all these undocumented people enter the country, and they ignore all the reasons why we shouldn't do that. Health concerns, job concerns, the language barrier, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't think most people really agree with the SJW bullshit. Like, you have people in power who do, but I think most normal people who actually have to put up with like the repercussions of this, like, are increasingly becoming like really disenchanted with this. Like, I'm really surprised at like the amount of people at my workplace, like in this very liberal town, right, who will shit on like gays and trannies and shit like that. Something that like I get shit on simply for bringing up on like my YouTube channel, right? This is one of the things I've noticed about like SJWs, right? Even outside of like the context of what you're talking about, right? I've had this happen to me when I talk about like unpopular gaming opinions. These people will bring up your opinions on gay rights. So, for example, I criticized a YouTube a while back, the guy who made that really stupid anti-piracy, pro-piracy video. I don't remember his name because he's like some irrelevant YouTuber who only exists because he justifies piracy. That guy, came onto my channel and started like, made this lengthy comment trying to like talk shit to me, and I kind of just ignored it. I didn't really care, But one of the things he said to me, like, he called me homophobic when that didn't have anything to do with why we were having this argument to begin with, right? He somehow knew that I openly am very open about how I don't support gay marriage and things along those lines, right? And I've seen it. I've had this happen to me a couple of times before, like Reset Era, right? When Emily Rogers brought me up as someone who like criticizes her, someone else, like, I mentioned my, my stance on that, and that's just it happens. Like, I've seen this happen with like the Kick Vic situation, where Kick Vickers will try and look into your personal history and try to come up with something they can use to weaponize against you, and try to find something they can use to try and discredit you among the social justice internet crowds, right?
Was a pretty ballsy thing.
Yeah, Reset Era is really terrible. I hate that website. I do. Like, it's amazing how I'm a YouTube channel with like 240 subscribers, right? And back before I even hit the 200 mark, I was like controversial among these people, right? These amazing how they'll talk about like even the smallest channels that talk about their cash cows, right? Emily Rogers. Oh, I heard Emily Rogers left Reset Era, and I'm not sure why that is. Probably because it might be because of the trannies there and how like unpopular Reset Era is getting. Like, maybe she's kind of seeing these this shady stuff behind the scenes. Like, Reset Era is becoming extremely unpopular, like among gamers, because it just bans everyone like incessantly. Like, it's what happened with NeoGAF, but honestly probably even worse, right? Like, I've seen people, if you criticize anyone on Reset Era, you're probably going to get banned. And I have the issue with like forums in general where you can't be like harsh to anyone, but yeah, Reset Era takes it to a whole new level. And I don't know what Emily Rogers' situation is right now. She might be getting ready for like another round of fake leaks. It's been a while, right? She hasn't been super active since the whole pre-Switch thing, I don't think. Yeah. They don't have arguments. They really don't. They don't have arguments for anything. Yeah. So they don't have arguments. So they always bring it to like this virtue signaling stuff. They make it like about equality. They make it about like love. They make it about being fair to people, being kind to people. When they're like they themselves are actually really cruel and callous people, right? With Kick Vic and how they try to destroy this guy's life, for some reason. I don't know. Like the Twitter outrage mob, like I think the public really needs to be made aware of like who these people actually are. Because like I think the Twitter outrage mob portrays itself as like, the general public at large. Like they have this mindset that like they have this group of people who will just brigade everything all day long. And it makes the companies and like organizations and like people in general, like it feels like the whole world is coming after you. Like how many times in your life has like 1,000 people message you all at once telling you what a terrible person you are, or a certain thing is, and how like you need to like lose your job, you need to be fired and stuff like that. Under most circumstances, I think companies under most circumstances, I think most people would like see that as being like a thing that has some kind of merit behind it. Like if you see a lot of people criticizing someone, then that someone probably did something wrong, right? But really, it feels like that's not really the case when it comes to like the Twitter outrage mob, right? Like a lot of people will shit on Vic Mignogna. I keep pronouncing his name. I don't know why. Vic Mignogna. People will like criticize him and like come out against him and talk about how he's like a rapist and stuff like that, but they can't prove it. And like now that they're being pressed on it, now that like they're taking it to court, now that they're doing all this stuff, it's not holding up under any kind of scrutiny. Like everybody involved, from like the voice actors to Mars Girl to like Funimation, like they're being exposed as complete frauds, right? And I really hope this case leads to like a very real change in attitude in regards to this kind of thing. Like the industry, the world at large has not adopted to Twitter culture yet, and how it can affect things, and how these people will brigade certain things in order to like push their agenda onto people. And that's the thing that needs to be said here. Push. They don't convince people of their ideology. They have to force people. Like you have to support gay people, otherwise we're going to come after you and get you fired. That's the reason most people aren't more openly critical of it, because they're scared of what other people may say, do, or think. Right? And okay, Devorah, stop that. Okay, Devorah seems to have this really cheap attack where she just keep doing this weird thing where she just locks me into this endless combo. Okay, it's not even really a combo. It's like one move that has like such small frames and such power behind it, you can't get out of it. Okay. Yeah. No, they have like no power at all. Like they're nobodies. Like look at Mars Girl, right? Look at her background. Like she started Kick Vic, right? What is her background? She is an unsuccessful internet content producer, an extremely unsuccessful one. Like she has like what? Nick Rekieta was talking about this yesterday. Actually, she averages like 1,100 views on her channel a day. That is like atrocious. That's like, I don't know what mine is, but like that's not much better than me, honestly, probably. Well, she has views. I don't have views at all, but what she does, like, for someone who's been doing this as long as she has, like 11, 12 years, been attached to Channel Awesome, been attending cons, been like an official accredited YouTuber for that long, to have that few views is just like terrible. And Ricada was talking about this, and like the only thing that has made her channel jump at all in the past couple of years was change the channel. And I think that's why so many people jumped onto it. Like they were trying to promote their own channels, and they were trying to get like credibility, and they were trying to like I think there were some people involved with like change the channel who genuinely wanted to see like change there, but I think a lot of people were just trying to get back at them. Like everybody had their own motivations behind it. Like Obscura Slupa wanted to get back at the walkers. Like Lindsay Ellis wanted to push her social justice agenda. You'll notice it in, like, if you look at the document, that's the angle she tried to push. Like, they didn't criticize Gamergate. The walkers, Mike Machad didn't criticize Gamergate. So he's a piece of shit. Now, what a waste, by the way. Lindsay was actually not that bad back in the day. I actually really liked her. She was my favorite content producer. And like to see her become like a feminist, she is like, to me, the go-to example of how feminism can ruin a woman. Because like she was super likable. She seemed chill as fuck. She seemed like someone you would want to hang out with. And I kind of had a thing for her. But classic. She was actually not that bad looking back in the day. But now, shit, she's terrible. Like, damn. Just terrible. I am not a comics person, so I don't know what's been going on with Comicsgate. I'm sure it was like kicked off by Gamergate. Again, I was like huge on Gamergate. I'm like more into this anime gate situation. Again, it's going to be a group effort, right? It's going to be the people who are interested in these hobbies that are being invaded by these people. We're going to have to rise up and really start acknowledging that no, we're not going to take this or support it at all, Yeah, I keep losing to Navora. I raised the difficulty by accident, and I can't handle this because I've never played as Kano before. Oops. In this game. Oops. Yeah, maybe I should just lower the difficulty. Yeah. If you're getting attacked on Twitter all the time, it just becomes unbearable. Like YouTubers talk about this all the time. It's very, very stressful to have a bunch of people come after you for like stupid, asinine reasons, right? Like sometimes, again, it's not always unjustified. Like I think Angry Joe refusing to make angry reviews is a good example of like someone who is simply not doing what they promised to do. Or Spoonie, right? Spoonie kind of deserves all the shit he gets, but like plenty of other people don't, Well, the thing is, most celebrities are SJWs, and most of their superiors are SJWs as well. So they threaten their careers by coming out against it. Like James Woods, he's super, super conservative. Like he shits on like transgender people all the time on Twitter. And like people have acknowledged this, that like his career is pretty much over because of this. Like I know Orson Scott Card, the author of Ender's Game, he's like a Mormon and like has spoken out against gay marriage. And again, people will use that to shit on him. And I'm not sure what the current state of his situation is, but like I know he hasn't had a really big success story in years, and that's in spite of writing a classic novel and continuing to expand on that universe and having like a unique perspective on sci-fi and stuff like that. If you don't follow with the doctrine, you tend to get fucked over, right? Whoa. What? Are you serious? Star Citizen was canceled? What, are you serious? That's big news if true. Are you serious? I don't see. I don't see any news on that. Do you have a source? Well, it's not just being harassed when you're a celebrity. It's like outright losing everything you have. You know, like you're going to lose support from like the industry, whatever industry you're in, pretty much. Like it doesn't matter whether it's literature, whether it's comics, whether it's like movies. Like if you come out as a conservative, you are going to be fucked. Because you just simply aren't allowed to talk about this kind of thing. Oh, you lied about it? Okay. You had me going there for a minute. They're not going to cancel Star Citizen. Like, there are still idiots who still support that thing. Like, Star Citizen is like, has to be the biggest gaming scam in history. Like, bigger than Shenmue 3, bigger than the PS4, bigger than like, I don't even know, man. I don't know what is with these like spacefaring games. I've noticed this with like No Man's Sky. I don't know what is with these spacefaring games and people like putting up with absolute bullshit in order to like push this dream of having this like space simulation release. You know, like I don't know. Like I think a lot of these people like sort of live off of Star Trek. Like Star Trek is like everything to them. And they're like, and they just sort of exist, hoping it'll someday be a reality, you know. And I think that's the appeal of it. Because like Bob Chipman, the movie Bob guy, I noticed he has this like really weird obsession with Star Trek, and you know, making that world the reality. You know, that extremely idealized socialism, or I don't know, what does he believe exactly? Like. I know he hates the working class, and like he thinks that I don't know. That's kind of out of character for Kano, but I don't know. I kind of like that one. The Last Dance fatality. Okay. Now maybe that would be good if it was Sonya if I did that too. Okay. Yeah, 100 million in funding, still not in alpha, fully clear. Yeah. Well, games are probably more expensive to produce than films, I imagine. You know, that's why they're so much more expensive. Okay, Star Citizen. Yeah, I don't like people who didn't Mr. Medicare talk about Star Citizen a while back. What was that about again? They fucked something, and I don't know what it was. How long has it been since I've been following Star Citizen? Has it been? It was in development since 2012, right? I think it was 2012. So I think it was around 2014 where I became aware of it. Because like I don't think it was like the biggest Kickstarter success story immediately. Did you really work for Rockstar? Yeah, what are the working conditions there like? I haven't heard good things about working there. Yeah, I've heard that Rockstar devs, like, Rockstar makes you, like, makes its developers work, like, 80-hour weeks. So, like, you're there 20 hours a day, like, 18 hours a day or something ridiculous like that. Like, yeah, that like overworking devs that much, like you should not be doing that. Like I mentioned this on stream, like you cannot work someone that much and expect to get like a seller product out of it. You'll get stuff done. It'll like, but you know, it won't be as good as if like, you know, your developers are well rested and like are eager to work. Like I don't know. Like I'm just not super impressed with Rockstar right now. Like Red Dead 2, this is where, you know, Red Dead 2 is probably. I really do think that one of the reasons that game is so bad is because of how overworked the team was, and like no one seriously stopped to think that like, you know, maybe this game we're making is not actually that fun. Yeah, I kind of figured you were lying again. I just wanted to make sure. I'll keep an eye on that for the future. Whoa. They just name dropped God. God has a presence in Mortal Kombat? What? How does that work? Okay. Yeah. AAA games are more casual. Games are more casual these days for sure. Like Dark Souls is like, you know, the poster boy for hardcore games, right? Not even half as hard as like some of the NES games that are out there. You know, some of the classic NES games like that take actual skill. Like you can pretty much cheese your way through the entirety of Dark Souls. Like you can say it's longer than NES games, but it's certainly not harder. You know what I mean? Okay, Kano. Since when is like Kano pissed on people? That like just does he have bladder problems? Whatever. All right. Yeah. Like you see like easier games being like shit on for being too difficult, right? Like Cuphead. I brought this up already. Is a really good example. Have you played Cuphead, Lila? I don't think. I want your opinion on this. Do you think Cuphead is particularly difficult? Because I did not. I had no problem getting through it. And like I didn't enjoy it enough to play on expert mode. So I don't. No, I don't think it's a normies. Like I don't think it's the normies. Like this is not the normies' fault. This is entirely the gaming journalists. This is the industry who doesn't like appreciate video games. Like it's not normies because normies are not making the video games, right? It is the developers making the video. The developers have become casual. It has nothing to do with normies, right? Yeah. I think you'd reasonably like Cuphead. You're always talking about how like games aren't like gameplay focused enough. That Cuphead, like you know, Cuphead is very gaming focused. I would never say it has that AAA problem of being like a non-game, but like it's not nearly as good as people make it out to be. My opinion. Like I think Contra 3 is better. I think the Contra games are better. It's basically just a Contra game with like a 30s art style, and I don't know, like it's kind of. I think it is worth playing, but like it's a solid 8 out of 10 game for me. I would say not my favorite by any means, but again, like not every game is like a masterpiece, you know. Did game journalists try to push Cuphead as being racist? I remember them trying to do it, but when I saw those articles, I hadn't played the game yet, so I don't really know what that was. Let's look that up. Cuphead is racist. Let's see what pops up. It's impossible to separate Cuphead from the era that inspired it. A Kotaku article, of course. Cuphead is a beautiful looking game with tight controls and grueling combat that culminates in game
unlike many others. But as a throwback to the animation of the early 20th century, it finds its muse in a troubling past it never gets around to actually confronting. There's a famous saying, often attributed, so it's not actually racist, it's just not admitting that that time period was racist. Okay, what's Kano gonna do with the hourglass? Fuck yeah. Okay, so Kano is having base Kano. He has bikini Mortal Kombat fights while he looks on from a throne.
My school loves the wins, but not always. And when I do win,
Okay, that was actually a good one. I like that. Have you ever seen the "Don't be racist like Mario" meme? Like, I don't remember exactly how it goes, but I looked that up. I think you'd get a kick out of it. So Kano sets up bikini Mortal Kombat fights. Base Kano. He knows what's up. Base Kano. And then he like uses the hourglass to set up. Okay, I can't decide. I can't tell. Is that Cassie or Sonya? I can't decide which one I would like more in that situation. That's just like, that's great. Based Kano. So he set up a Dead or Alive tournament with the hourglass. Okay. So that was not a bad ending. I don't even like Kano, so that's kind of nice to see. And like he eventually changes things, so like he has to fight. So he's like perpetually fighting Sonya. Is that what this is all about? Like he really wants to. He really gets sexually off on like the idea of like fighting Sonya for eternity, like being perpetually on the run from her. Like I've noticed this about him actually. He never brings up Jax. Like even though Jax and Sonya work together, it's always like he always brings up Sonya when like he's talking about why he does what he does and stuff like that. So yeah, so this is entirely a sex thing. Really, he's like Stuntman Mike, putting him like sort of like that, where he does all this stupid shit. Okay, what's Cabal's ending gonna be like? Yeah, I'm surprised they put Cabal at 11. Because like he doesn't do much in the general plot, but I guess it's all right, just because people like him. Yeah, 11's not bad. I haven't played online yet. I'm mostly just doing the single player stuff right now. So I'm not really sure what the competitive scene is like, but I'm enjoying it. Like I like the story mode. I like the I'm doing the arcade now. It's fun. I mean, I'm putting off Dragon's Dogma to play it, so yeah. Oops. Yeah, right button. I fucked up the fatality. Ah. So yeah. So Cuphead is being criticized for being racist because it's not criticizing racism enough. Like that's not how standing against racism works. Again, it's just pure virtue signaling, right? They don't actually care about equality or being reasonable or like doing what's best for everyone. They just want to bitch about everything to like brag about what great people they are. Yeah, Nintendo really loves blonde women. I don't know why. Because like I like black-haired women personally. I mean, I guess I like blondes all right. I mean, I like everything all right, you know? Like, but yeah, Nintendo really, really loves blondes. Like all their primary characters seem to be blonde, and I don't really understand why. Like, what's the reason behind it? I wanted to make a video about this actually. The most attractive female character in video games. Maybe I should like hold off on like telling you who I think it is, but like I wanted to make a video about it because I don't think a lot of people really talk about that at all. But I do have a very, very clear idea, and I do think this can be scientifically proven, like objectively, like who the most attractive female video game character is. The most beautiful video game character, I should say. Well, Disney doesn't have all blondes though. Disney has like a lot of diversity. Like Aurora, who is of course the princess in Sleeping Beauty. No one seems to know her name. I've noticed that everybody just calls her Sleeping Beauty. No one seems to remember her actual name. But yeah, Aurora is blonde and she's great. Like I love her. She's actually one of my favorites. Like if you go back and watch that movie, it's not great, but Aurora is so likable and so like charismatic. You like love her. She is an amazing woman, like amazing. Well, amazing. She's supposed to be like 16, so maybe I should like not say that. But like, yeah, I really like her. Yeah, like Snow White isn't blonde. Like who else? Yeah, Belle isn't blonde. Ariel isn't blonde. Well, I guess those are more modern. Who else who's in the classic era? Yeah, Cinderella is blonde. The only ones I can remember that are blonde are Cinderella and Aurora. I can't think of anyone else. Who are the princesses of the heart in Kingdom Hearts? Well, I can't even remember. Yeah, you have Alice for some reason. You have Snow White. Do you have Snow White? I can't remember. Yeah, I can't even remember who the princesses of the heart are in Kingdom Hearts because they don't have anything to do with the plot. Yeah, that's really frustrating. You have this Disney crossover, right? You create this concept where you have this like, the princesses of heart, these Disney characters with these incredible magical powers, right? They can open the door to Kingdom Hearts or some bullshit like that. Well, 6 Disney characters and Kyrie. And you don't do anything with that idea. Like after the first game, it's not really brought up again. Like, yeah, they still have their like title or whatever. It's like brought up occasionally, but it's not really important. Like after the first game, man, Kingdom Hearts is so disappointing. Yeah, Sony really likes their lesbians. Fuck. Ellie, does Nintendo have any lesbian characters? I guess you could argue that, I don't know, Corrin from Fire Emblem Fates is bisexual, but I don't know. It's not like, since you can choose your own partner anyway, it's kind of a moot point. Like, I would never do that. So I wouldn't even play as a female character to begin with. So yeah, I hope Fire Emblem Three Houses cuts back on like the gay shit. It's probably not going to happen, but I was so disappointed to see that make its way into Fates.
Surrender, and death will be painless. As he taught you, all Black Dragon are common. Round one, fight.
Yeah. So Ellie being a lesbian is like the biggest case of bullshit I think I've ever seen in my life. Right? There is just, I don't know. I wonder if that was like planned from the beginning. Like I really got to play The Last of Us again to really see if like this was implied in the base game. Because honestly, like I've heard talk that it isn't, and that's like the main thing that like I'm curious about, like about The Last of Us at this point, was whether that was always a thing or whether it was like shoehorned in for diversity. You know, I just know. Yeah. Diversity. They love using that word, but like it always comes down to the same thing. They always use like the same black chick with an afro. They always use like a lesbian. They always use like the same things over and over and over again. It's not diverse if you're doing the same thing. Like it just. No. I just saw the Jax ending actually. He doesn't actually eliminate the White Devils. I don't know where people got that. Like all it says he did. The only weird thing about that ending is that like he literally uses the word woke, and like he goes to like he stops slavery. He says that, but he doesn't say anything about like how he actually did it. Like I don't know. Like they only show black people in the ending, but that doesn't mean they like eliminated white people. I don't understand. Okay, I don't like the mindset that like some people have that we shouldn't. That we shouldn't want Africa to be a better place, right? Like, again, I have issues with like giving limitless aid to them and stuff like that, and there are problems with like supporting them perpetually, like that. But I don't think I like the diversity just means anything but white, like that white men, I think, specifically, because like Ellie's white, a white lesbian, Tracer is a white lesbian, all the lesbians seem to be white for some reason. Who else is there? I don't know. Yeah, it is racist in and of itself. Yeah, one of the things I've noticed is that like the most successful examples of like diverse non-white films don't bill themselves as being non-white, right? Like they just have black people, play roles made for black people that are aimed at black audiences, and that's really all you need to do. You don't need to make something, take something that's white and make it blacker, to make it like for diversity, right? Like just make something specifically for black audiences. Not only will you not alienate white audiences, you're going to impress black audiences with stuff they've never really seen before. I just I think that's why Black Panther was so popular, right? Is that it didn't try to retcon it. Well, okay, I know we make fun of Wakanda and stuff like that, but like it didn't feel. Oh, okay. I didn't see Black Panther. Maybe I shouldn't talk shit about it. Talk about this. I don't really know. Yeah, I never saw the Book of Eli. I heard it's really, really good.
Let me tell you, this job sucks. Weekends.
Oh, Cabal.
Turn back time.
So Cabal has a wife and kid. Wait, who does he marry? That's someone, isn't it? From the games?
Just like I took that shit out of mom.
So he married someone from the games. Like I don't remember who that was. I don't recognize that person. Was she in 10? Yeah, I love how they like build the lore in this way. Like they do all this weird stuff that like you might not pick up on. Really, really well handled, I think. So Cabal gets married and becomes a family man. Go home and be a family man. Cool. Yeah, not a bad ending at all. Oh, Liu Kang, awesome. Hang on, I am not playing as Revenant Liu Kang. Fuck that. Wait, how do I switch the characters? I don't want to play as Revenant Liu Kang. Okay. Oops. Okay, fine. I'm gonna have to play as Revenant Liu Kang, apparently. Don't tell me I have to unlock the. Don't tell me I have to unlock the other costumes. I probably should go to the crypt and like at least try and pick up on stuff and see how terrible it is. Yeah, I might as well do that on stream. Maximilian dude freaked out when he did it. Yeah, I'm definitely not paying for anything. I'm staying by that. I'm standing behind that. Like no microtransactions. I'll pay for stuff that I make in the actual game. No problem.
What do I owe this pleasure?
You will give gift to Shao Kahn.
May the forest.
It better give me a good ending. Like it better not just be a rehash of like the well. Is it going to be similar to the story mode ending? I'm kind of curious as to what happens here, because like Liu Kang mechanically wins. So. Oh yeah, I gotta check Liu Kang's fatality. I forgot to check. Okay, is it good this game? Like Liu Kang keeps alternating between having like the GOAT, greatest of all time fatalities, and like complete shitty ones. So we're gonna have to see just how bad or good this one is. I think it was good the last game. Was it? I don't quite recall. I'll probably play as every single character this round.
Why have you betrayed
He betrayed the balance of all things.
me?
Why would Revenant Liu Kang give a shit about writing? Whatever. Oh, maybe it was the plus button. Maybe that would have let me change the costume. Because I don't really like the way Revenant Liu Kang looks. Like, I guess he's cool as like an antagonist, but I don't want to play as the antagonist. I really wonder if this whole Jax controversy is going to erupt into like Mortal Kombat 12 being all about like Jax and his like Wakanda. Wouldn't that be great? That would be terrible, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to go to a different direction. I hope they follow up on like Katana Khan. You know, that was awesome, but no. Like, why are they? I know there are more realms than the Netherworld, Earthrealm, Outworld, and what the fuck, Edenia, but they never really talk about any of them. They just sort of don't seem to be involved with anything. He used the 1-inch punch. He actually uses the 1-inch punch. Okay, that's awesome. What's that? Okay. Oh, undoubtedly. Like, Star Wars is like the wokest. Okay, maybe not the wokest thing ever, but it's pretty bad. Well, woke. Okay, I keep hearing wokeness being associated with like black people. I think Star Wars is more feminized than anything. The new trilogy is more feminized than anything. I don't think because like Rey is somehow able to do like all this stupid shit she shouldn't be able to do, like fixing Han's ship when like he himself didn't know how to do it. Like that stuff is just stupid, right?
You're gonna do it now.
Okay, yeah. It probably is gonna be woke then. Like they already kind of did that. Like I've heard they made like Lando Calrissian gay, like or bisexual, which is like just plain stupid. And I just, yeah, Star Wars does not deserve to be acknowledged by anyone at this point. Like I am just not gonna buy anything Star Wars related. Okay, I'm gonna keep my movies, you know, not sell them, not do anything with them. I'm just gonna keep them, watch the originals, the original 6, you know, yeah, fuck the new trilogy. It's not Star Wars. I don't know. That's the difference between like the Phantom Menace and this, right? Like people will bitch about like the Phantom Menace and talk about how terrible it is. They'll still watch it, you know. Like in spite of how much people like love to complain about those movies, like people still will watch it. It is, in spite of everything, still a Star Wars movie, just not a very good one. Like the new ones don't really have that. You know? Yeah. B movies can be fun. Like this is SJW movies are worse than B movies because they're just like they genuinely think they're like some cinematic marvels, right? And they're just not. You know, that's one of the things that's so frustrating about Star Wars is that like people are so it's a lot like the Pretendo thing, right? Where you have these people who are latching on to Star Wars and like trying to pretend that they're like serious hardcore fans and like are defending the new trilogy from like the criticism from people. And just like they don't know the first thing about it. Like they're defending it because it's SJW and because it's popular. Well, because it's Star Wars, right? Like Star Wars back in the day was not popular because it was Star Wars. It was popular because it was a good, innovative movie. And that's the thing people are missing out on is that like the new trilogy is not interesting or innovative. Like they have not been building the lore or universe or like they haven't done anything new. Like it's just a rehash essentially. Like say what you want about like the original trilogy movies, but like at least they showed us how Anakin became Darth Vader. Like you can argue that like it wasn't handled well, but you know those aspects of the character have in and of themselves become iconic and you know grew the franchise and did new things with it and like kept the universe growing. What has the new trilogy accomplished? Like nothing. The new trilogy is like nothing but a rehash and acknowledgement of like stuff that's come before. Like I remember watching the Cinema Stop review like the Cinema Stop do a midnight screening review of I think it was Rogue One, and he was talking about how the guys from the Mos Eisley Cantina, he don't like you. I don't like you either. Like those guys were in the movie, and they did the same exact thing. And he was laughing about it. He thought it was hilarious, but immediately that was like a major red flag to me. Like it reminded me of how The Force Awakens is like nothing but a rehash of A New Hope, with like some of the roles switched around. Like Han Solo is not Han Solo. Han Solo is Obi-Wan in this one. Rey is Luke. She wants to leave Mos Eisley and go on an adventure. Or whatever. Like you have the droids coming down. Like it's the same exact thing. Like I remember my brother explained the plot of this movie to me. Like he was talking about how like the plans in some super weapon were like hidden in some droids and then sent down to Tatooine. And I was just like, exactly like A New Hope, because I hadn't seen it yet. I was like, I hadn't even seen A Force Awakens yet when I heard that. And I was just like, I was devastated. That was like, to me, I think the moment where like I realized this movie was going to be garbage. Man. I wasn't expecting to walk out of it though, like the way I did. I did not see The Force Awakens. I did not see Rogue One. I did not see Solo. I did not see the what the fuck is that movie called? Wait, what? The Last Jedi. Like, I didn't watch any of that. Like, I was done with the first one. Just a complete disaster. Zootopia is Hillary propaganda. I had never heard that. What is Zootopia like? Like, the thing the only thing I know about Zootopia is that considering its general premise of, like, these animals living in this, like, setting of this urban setting, like I was really worried that like it was going to lead more people into becoming furries. That was the thing that I had an issue with. Like I never heard like the whole Hillary thing. What's that all about? Oh, diversity. Yeah, just let the predators in. Like they're not going to eat us. Please tell me that's like the literal plot of the movie. I don't know. Here's the thing about this, like a diversity, mass media, mass immigration propaganda, right? Like they all do this, right? They always like put up this theme of like, oh, we're overcoming our differences. We'll come together. We'll make everything great. This is what makes diversity great. All these people coming together and like realizing that they can all get along. Well, here's the thing about that. It doesn't work out in reality. So when it happens in reality, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen the way it does in the movie. So people are going to become jaded by it eventually. So I welcome the propaganda.
People I trust and love most. Together, we replaced the elder gods that Sephion had betrayed and became an eternal god.
Okay, so Luke Cage's ending has everyone becoming elder gods. That's awesome.
My heart longs for a simpler life. The kind one cannot have being chosen. But above what Kitana and I did not give for those simple pleasures.
Aww.
In another time.
So yeah, Luke Cage's best friends become elder gods. And then he gives it up to marry Kitana and live a simple life. Aww. I love them together. I'm just gonna come out and say that. Like I've said this so many times, but I just love them. They're great. Yeah, I heard Angry Birds was based. Like I've heard that. Like Like I've heard people describe it unironically as like the all-time best, as the all-time best video game movie. That's not saying much, but I wonder what Katana's ending is like. Man, at this rate, I'm gonna play through the entire fucking thing. Okay. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, remind me what Angry Birds is about. Like, I know it's about the pigs, but what do the pigs do? Are they supposed to be like a stand-in for commies? I know they come to the birds. I don't remember. What happens in Angry Birds? I don't remember. Well, I don't remember watching it because like fuck the actual games. Fuck those people. Yeah. We're seeing a massive divide among like SJWs. You have like the handlers and you have like the enablers, right? The handlers want like the establishment Democrat, while the useful idiots, the enablers, like the common people who want free stuff, like they're pushing for Bernie Sanders. So yeah, this is going to be a massive divide in the Democrat Party going forward. I think they just cannot. They're just not making their base happy. Like they're just not. They can't fulfill their promises. Like they can't write off all of their problems with immigration and diversity as being due to racism forever, right? And that's my feeling on it. Like we're reaching the breaking point. I think. Like I'm already saying. Like I see people who like I know people who will like talk about how woke they are and talk about how they like hate racists and like love black people and stuff like that. They'll shit all over black people who like ask for work. I saw this happen some time ago. I'm not sure how I should say this story. The pigs pretend to be refugees. What? Do they really? That's great if awesome. That's great if true. Do they really? That's great. Yeah. So, what was I talking about? People who go on about diversity, how they love diversity, they are ironically the least diverse group of people you can imagine. They're like they all come from like super white backgrounds. They all like exclusively date white people. Like it's weird, right? Like I talk shit about immigrants all the fucking time. I'm pro wall. I support Donald Trump. I should hate Mexicans, right? But I've had Hispanic girlfriends in the past, so I am ironically less racist than these people. So I just. And that extends to like work too. Like they'll talk about like I don't know, like my opinion of Sanders supporters is that they're just people who don't want to work or find better work. Like I know plenty of people who are voting for him. Like they're voting for him because they think they can't do better. They think they can't do anything else. Like that is their plan for the future. Like elect a government official who can impose socialism on people so like they can be taken care of and they won't have to worry about like going out and finding jobs. Like I agree that like the job market is trash. They need to have like better trainers. They need to have like not require college degrees for everything. But yeah, there's no like it's a problem. It's not something that can't be overcome. Essentially, you know what I mean? Oh, really? We're gonna have to see what happens with that. I'm not too concerned, like for my personal safety because I'm nowhere near the border. I'll be fine. I think it's going to be. Yeah, I agree. I actually did not go to college at all. I just built my skill set, and I'm making just as much, if not more, than a ton of people who have degrees. So whatever. Like they try to bullshit you. Like I straight up, like I'm actually applying for jobs that require college degrees right now, and I'm just going to tell them that, like, yeah, if you want me to have a college degree, you can pay for it. The company can pay for it themselves. Like, I'm not wasting my time. I'm making just enough money now. Yeah, eventually we're going to reach the point where like the actual skilled people are not going to be having college degrees at all. Like that's already happening with me. I'm recommending people not to go. No one in my family really went. I say really, but and all of us seem to be doing really well. Yeah, just learn from the internet, like, or a library, right? Like you can. This is the thing I noticed that like by picking up a history book and like taking your own initiative. This is just my experience talking. Just by reading about random stuff, you're going to have a better education than someone who spent like years in school. I am not exaggerating. You're going to know more stuff. You're going to understand more stuff. You're going to have a more unique perspective. You're going to have like a better understanding of like the government and society and cultures and history. And like this was like not even trying to like make this into a career, right? This was just something I was doing like as a hobby. And it's just amazing, right? Amazing. Yeah, at this point, like if a company, if a job does not hire me, if they try to tell me like I'm not a good fit for them, I just laugh at them. Like because it's just complete bullshit. Because generally speaking, when I go into a job, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what the job entails. I know it does not require a fucking degree. So like I just call them out on it, yeah, because I don't need to be hired. Like I think it's the main problem a lot of people have. Is that, like they get into this mindset that they need to be hired by their dream job immediately after college, instead of like working sporadically, gradually work better jobs as you get older and like develop a skill set and develop like a real resume, right? Like now that I have a resume and like am employed, I'm having no real problems at all with anything. And I don't know, like I think a lot of these woke people simply never reach that step. Like they were told like, oh, you just go to college, you'll be fine. Whoa. He just said praise the sun. Kotal Khan literally just said praise the sun. What? Whoa, okay. Yeah, it really doesn't. Like, yeah, high school felt like college prep. Like all they were doing was like, trying to convince you like, you have to spend all this money in college. Yeah, complete bullshit. I kind of saw through it before like I was even out of high school. I was just like, wait a minute, why are they just not teaching us real stuff now? And it just sort of, I mean, there are no options for anything interesting. There were no real, electives for me to take that like suited my interests. Like it was all just like, you can do that when you get to college. Well, no, I'm not going to college because I can't afford it. Like, they tried so hard to present the situation as if like I wasn't smart enough to succeed. I am succeeding. In spite of everything that's happened, everything worked out. Like everything they tried to tell me. Yeah, they try to sell you on like the college experience too. I noticed they try to tell you to go in there and go there to so you can get laid, basically. Yeah, you want to be with all the best bitches, right? Like there's so many sluts in college, man. You're gonna have such a great time getting so much puss, man. Well, for one thing, I don't fucking like sluts. I've realized this as I've gotten older. Like that's not all it's cracked up to be, you know. And nobody likes easy women. Okay, I just wait. What's the big pussy generation? What do you mean by that? Like what it's like now to me is that it feels like is that like everyone is going because they feel like they have to go to get a job, but they're not really interested in learning anything, so they just sort of like party all the time and just fuck around and judge people who don't go to college. I love how like so many people were like shitting on shit on people for not going to college, and then like they're in crippling debt by the time they get out, and then like people like me are perfectly fine, you know. Yeah, it's kind of. I would say it's worse now. Because like you hear stories about like I heard Chris Rock stopped performing at college campuses because like they're so easily offended by it. You know, it just you know it's that sort of thing. Like that's what they're teaching these people, like to be perpetually offended by everything. They're like, ooh, the world is harsh. It's just like. I don't know. They push communism onto people. Like they unironically, I hear this kind of statement all the time among college students. Like, communism is the perfect form of government. It just hasn't been tried yet, and that's complete bullshit. If you've actually, hang on. You know, read a little bit about it. She brings Adenia back. Sorry, I'm still playing Mortal Kombat 11.
Adenia's traditions, its languages, its culture, all were completely foreign, having been forbidden to me by Shao Kahn.
Oh, poor Katana.
The truth is, no Adenia, my blood. I am not an Adenia. I am an outlaw.
Oh, she embraces Katana Khan. They knew how badass this was.
Ancient Adenia teachings to make myself a better self. With them, I will fulfill my life's mission to better all of our world's people, including Adenia.
Yeah, that was a good ending. Shit. All right. Yeah, sorry. I keep jumping back and forth with like watching these endings and taking them all in. Yeah. What was I talking about? I get the impression that like schools, colleges are generally pushing this idea that like we need diversity, we need like communism, we need like fuck rich people, global climate change is fucking us over, like Donald Trump is evil, that sort of thing. Like it's a case of like fools believing they are wise, That's just, I have a degree, so I know what I'm talking about. When they don't know shit about like anything, even stuff in their like actual field, it's just so frustrating. Like, if all you need is a job, just get a job, and like,
But you are easily slaughtered.
I mean, the thing about college, though, it's not a waste of time, but like nothing in life really is. Like that's something I've realized. Like doing anything in your life is like worthwhile because like you're learning from everything. So there's no such thing as like not really such a thing as like a waste of time. So you can make college work out for you. Like, I'm not saying you can't, but like, you have to acknowledge the real problems and the realities of what you're getting into, I think. So yeah, good for you. That was awesome. Okay. I keep accidentally doing brutalities. Like, brutalities in this game are just like uppercuts when like the enemy is about to die. So what's up with that? Advertising. You have to study that? I don't know. Isn't it just like pandering to what you think people will want? I don't really understand why you would need to study that. So yeah. I think it's safe to say I really like Mortal Kombat 11. I haven't been able to stop playing it since I started streaming 2 hours ago. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Yeah. I know that. I knew that. Like, you don't need to study psychology to like take advantage of that though. You just have to like do it. I just don't. Again, it's like one of those things. I don't think you need to go to school for that. You just need to learn how to do it. Let's see. Okay, how many Kung Lao fatalities does he have where he cuts someone in half? I'm kind of sick of that. Just Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I knew that. Really good advertising. Mm-hmm. Making it like a standard thing. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take a break after this, or play something else, I should say. Dragon's Dogma, maybe. I think I want to get back into that.
What happened to your hat? Well, that's just weird.
Okay. All right. Is there any more gaming news to talk about? I already did that rant about like the game analysts and those people. Those people are scum. I'm not really sure I want to retreat on that one. Video games. Doom Eternal. Oh, great. Someone's saying that the Switch version has been delayed. But it's probably fake news. I mean, I'll wait anyway. I don't give a shit. But it's only 3 months. Like shit. I have plenty of other games to play. Which is how I feel about like most Switch delays. So I don't really care. Yeah, Persona 5 needs to come on Switch. Yeah. Persona 5 got announced for Switch, sort of. It's getting a spin-off game on Switch. I don't know what. Like, just release the actual game. Why are they putting it off so much? Like, it should have come a long time ago, but they just refuse to do it for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about Persona anyway. Like, I feel like it's well made, but I also have this like really sickening like feeling to my stomach. Like, so many people put more work and effort into like Persona than they do in like actually improving their lives. Like that's the thing about Persona. It's like it's all about like having these relationships with people, right? And forming bonds and becoming closer with people. Like the thing that depresses me about that is that like so many Persona fans are like people who like completely fucked up and don't really have any real friends. You know? Like that's the thing I noticed about Persona. It seems to be pandering to these people who have like absolutely nothing in their lives. I can't believe that there's like this 100-hour-long game that came out like what 2 years ago. I cannot believe that game. Like people are already begging for like new content. Like I just don't get it. PS5 specs. I'm sure the spec. I have never in my life seen an example of like a leaked console having the correct specs. So I'm not going to like talk about PS5 until like we know it's coming. Yeah, Weaves and Hikamoris. Yeah. I mean, I like this kind of thing too. So I don't know, like I'm radically different than most Weaves. I'm not sure if you've noticed this. I am like actually more than capable of doing things that they can't do. You know, like actually having these kind of like I actually do things, you know, outside of like the weebish aspect. If anything, I'm kind of like annoyed that I don't watch anime more because I'm too busy doing other things, playing video games 10 hours a day. No, but I just feel like okay. I've met one Persona fan in real life in my entire life, right? That guy, I told the story before. That guy was caught. How was he? Okay, how should I describe this? That guy was exposed as desiring to rape and murder someone else. So yeah. I just like whenever I think of Persona, I think of that guy, and like he was an incel, and that is, you know, something I don't know. I just feel like a lot of male Persona fans are like that. Like female Persona fans actually seem way more chill and actually seem want to come over. Now, female Persona fans seem comparatively nicer. It's the waifu people, I think. They're the worst. Of course I defeated Kronika.
undo the defeat of my ancestor, Great Kung Lao. In my timeline, the Great Kung Lao is the undisputed Mortal Kombat champion. Earthrealm never loses another tournament.
Okay.
For generations, his example inspires millions to join the White Lotus Society and defend Earthrealm. They in turn inspire rebels to overthrow Shao Kahn and Alpha. Now make peace until never power comes along and finds Earthrealm backed by Kung Lao, immortal lord of time and warriors queen. Beat that, kid.
Okay, whatever. Is this what actually happens, or are the characters just fantasizing about what they're going to do, how they think things are going to turn? That's kind of the weird thing about these endings. I was playing Persona 4 a while back. I did like it, and I was getting into it, and there was a sequence early on where like you need to get in contact with Shay later on, right? This is a true story of something I experienced in Persona. Well, so you have like two dialogue options, right? You have like tell her, you need to ask for her phone number, and you can either ask her outright or you can bring up how you need to get in touch with her later because you need to like do something or what, like do something when it comes to the plot or whatever. So like I choose ask her outright because I'm not a fucking bitch, right? And the game tries to tell me that I don't have enough confidence to ask this girl for her phone number. And I was just like, fucking bullshit. If I did not have enough confidence, why did you give me the option to begin with? Like I would do it in real life. Why do I have to do, fucking bullshit. Like clearly pandering to like beta cucks, right? And I don't know. The entire like there's the sequence early on where like the girls offer to walk you home, like both of them, and I would like in the first day of school, and I'm just like, really? You don't even do anything. You just sort of exist, and I don't know. Like I hate that kind of thing. Like if you're not aware, like the difference between the Chad and the Virgin is that like the Chad will actually like do stuff, and the Virgin doesn't. So like the Chad is much more assertive and will like actually take action. So like I can buy like the Persona protagonist eventually winning these people over, but like I don't like how like people suck their dicks right off the bat. Like I kind of have the same problem with like a Fire Emblem Awakening in some ways where like the villains will talk about what a great tactician you are. I just instead of like accrediting the victory to like Chrom, like they probably should. That's just my opinion. It's just too wish fulfillment-y. I don't like that. Oh yeah. Don't be desperate. That's very important. I don't know, like a lot of these Persona fans don't even like really talk to women though. Like this guy I was talking about. Like I remember one time we were having this conversation where he was talking about this girl he spoke with, and he was just like, dude, she actually gave me her phone number. And obviously it didn't work out, but like you got the impression that like no one had ever really done that for him before, and it was just I don't know. I'm not sure how that fell through. Maybe it was a fake number. Like maybe she just stopped talking to him. I don't know, but he was excited about getting digits when it's not that difficult, really. Well, most people are like you can do it if you know what you're doing, right? Yeah, I think the issue is that like everyone just stays at home. Like everyone's like busy with work, so they just go home and like just have fun or whatever. Like I notice I usually meet people when like I'm going to like an event or something. Like that's usually when I meet like tons of people at once. Like every other time, like I just stay at home. Yeah, nobody likes betas. Nobody does. Not even the betas themselves. Did I even fatality? I think I did. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Feminists just I mentioned this before, but like feminists love conservative. It's really weird, right? They always talk about like how they like hate conservatives, but then like plenty of them will like sleep with them. There was this really funny article some time ago, like during the Trump campaign cycle, where like some feminist was wrote this article bitching about how she couldn't stop herself from sleeping with like Trump supporters. Like, believe me, it happens all the fucking time. I just, yeah, my bookstore closed down, so I can't do that anymore. Grocery store is good. Yeah. And my library is in like a shitty part of town, so I don't go there anymore. I probably should. I just need to find a good time to go, I think.
Pardon you? For what crime?
The one I'm about to commit.
Yeah, I met my recent love interest through video games, so I probably shouldn't get too specific about that because I don't want But yeah, following your interests and just living your daily life is like how you do it, right? Just do what you want to do and you'll be fine. Yeah, I noticed that like there are lots of cucks on like the Red Pill and stuff like that, seduction forums who are like, you have to like completely change yourself, man. You can't play video games. You can't do anything that's like conceived as uncool. You can't like you can't be anything less than perfect, man. And it's just so stupid, right? So ignorant, right? Like these people actually believe that like every single woman out there is like only interested in like dating a millionaire. Like really, do you really get that impression? Like I don't. I don't know, it's a bunch of betas trying to like justify why they can't get a girlfriend, right? But oh yeah. I think the obesity epidemic is probably one of the worst things plaguing America right now because like all of our other problems, would be fixed if everyone was just had the energy to do it, right? Like working out helps you way more than like I think a lot of obese people realize. Like I think people start feeling like unhealthy and like they blame their they think they're just dying naturally, getting old naturally when like it's really just not being active enough. Yes, it does, mentally and spiritually. Yeah, definitely something I want to do someday is like really talk about like fitness, and just all around how to live a healthy lifestyle while still playing like 10 hours of games a day and still working and still doing all this stuff. Like, yeah, because I managed to figure something out that sort of works for me. So yeah, maybe getting started, people started on that would be a good way to kick the channel. Because I think a lot of fitness people are like kind of unrelatable because they kind of revolve their entire lives around fitness. I think that's the main problem that people are having is that like they can't do what fitness people do and like dedicate all of their time to like eating right and working out regularly. Yeah. Oof. You know what? I'm gonna say it right now. I miss pole dancing Jade from Mortal Kombat 9. Just Okay, shit. Yeah, people want to be in shape, but they just sort of give up. It's really sad, and I don't know. They just need to really commit themselves to it. And they try to delude themselves that like what they're doing doesn't work for them. That working out doesn't work for them, or they're like just like naturally fat. That's where that meme came from. But yeah. Yeah, Fit the YouTube channel. I think that would be great. I love Fit, by the way. It's great. It's been a great motivator. What's on there now? It's really good with like people like us who are just sort of yeah, it is for me. I work out every day.
I have the power to shape time and destiny. Time's lost. Which cause should be restored? My loving country and my loyal friend eternal.
Could you not just
I heard Kundra's voice call out to me.
Follow your heart.
So I let my heart lead. Took me to an unexpected place. Faint memory, hope, my mother. I restored my parents in a day, building a new era without Shao Kahn. What a happy childhood I enjoyed.
oh.
But as I matured, I sensed that I was no ordinary child. Because power dwelled within me, calling me to a higher place. When I came of age, I ascended to godhood as the protector of Adelia. Armed with the knowledge of past timelines, I challenged Shinnok and Cetrion. Without Kronika's children hitting the realms against each other, all could be advocates. And remain so under my watchful eyes.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad ending either. Jade had to choose between Kotal and Katana. I'm sorry, I still can't get over the fact that Jade and Kotal Khan, fuck, that's just like, what? All right. Yep, okay, I have 7 more to go. Scarlet, Aaron Black, Deborah, Kotal Khan. Yeah, we'll stop here. Let's look at the crypt real quick, and then I'll play Dragon's Dogma. Yeah. So the crypt in this game takes place on Shang Tsung's island. He comes back and he's basically a shopkeeper here. He's a lot nicer in this game for some reason. He's played by the actor who played him in the movie 25 years ago. So he's back. And yeah, Shang Tsung is responsible for the microtransactions. So if you have an issue with it, you can take it up with him. Okay. Oh, are people saying, is that real? Is that true? People are like pretending the Switch version is bad. I haven't heard that. I haven't seen that at all. Yeah, so there are brutalities. Yeah, so I have to look at the crypt and see just what were people talking about when it came to the microtransactions? Because I have all this stuff here. I have plenty of coins that I got just by playing through the game. So I'm just not going to buy the microtransactions. I'll just play the game and get everything I want. I don't see what the big deal is. Well, of course, the microtransactions shouldn't be in the game at all, like at all. But yeah, I'm just gonna ignore them. So yeah, I'm playing the Switch version of Mortal Kombat 11, as you all know, and yeah, I've had no problems at all. Like from start to finish, it was flawless. It looked gorgeous. Everything's there. No problems at all. It was great. See you later. Oh wait, so you get the hammer of Shao Kahn? That's awesome. Okay, so I can destroy things with it. That's actually pretty cool. All right. What's with all this stuff that doesn't need to be there? I don't. I just want the brutalities. I just want the costumes. I just want all the unlockables. Upgrade? What? Wait. Was it a skin? I don't know what that was. Okay. Yeah, maybe I should have gone to the. If I have to walk the chest, I would rather just open them. I'd rather just be an ordinary store. Oh, whatever. Are they ever going to make a 3D Mortal Kombat game again? A proper, like, over-the-shoulder action game? Okay, I don't have a problem with this crypt. I don't see the microtransactions. They must be hidden or something because I have no idea where they are. But well, there's like a store for them on like the front page, so I have seen them. They don't seem to be in the crypt though. So if I can unlock everything without them, I can just ignore the microtransactions. Oof. It's all just music and stuff like that. I just. All right, all right, all right. What next? Yeah, I think I'm done with Mortal Kombat for now, or a break, I should say. Maybe I should just go ahead and beat the arcade, just so like I'm done with the game. And no, I legitimately want to take a break. All right, no problem. All right, back to Dragon's Dogma, maybe. Oh, Dragon's Dogma reloads really quickly. I don't know what it is, but like it goes straight to the title screen. All right. All right. Dragon's Dogma. Yeah. I modeled my character after Travis Touchdown, and I made my pawn Sylvia Crystal. This game is really quiet. I don't know. Well, man, I'm excited to play this. Okay.
Now you've come to the capital and conquering hero. You'll be needing all to do. I went to you, but you the pawns. You called from their kinds moving tight to the thing that is. You're not really express now.
All right, leveling up, becoming stronger.
They call him and keep the man.
Yeah, I do like this game way better than Devil May Cry. I'm just gonna come out and say this right now. I love Dragon's Dogma so far. I'm really hyped to get into it further. Closed. Why is it closed? They just. Yeah, I love how open it is. I love how like it doesn't tell you what to do. You just want to have to figure it out. Honestly, I think I've talked about everything I want to talk about. So I think I'll just end the stream here and just wish you all a good night and see you later.